Hello everybody, this is Professor Chandana Goswami from Tezpur University, and today we will discuss self-management. Self-management is understanding who we are, why do we behave the way we do, and before I proceed, let us have a look at this quotation. Only I can change my life, no one can do it for me. So let us understand, why do we behave the way we do? Why do we communicate the way we do? And for this, we will use two tools. First is transactional analysis and the second is MBTI. Transactional analysis was given by a psychologist, Dr. Eric Berne, where he described three ego states and he defined them as a system of feelings accompanied by a related set of behavior patterns. So which says basically that the way we feel, we display our behavior accordingly. And Dr. Berne said that in each one of us, there are these three ego states, which he has named as parent, adult, and child. Parent is our taught concept of life. Through this ego state, we try to transmit the good things, the bad things, the desirable things, undesirable things. So in one way, it's a passing of tradition from one generation to another. Adult is our thought concept of life. The adult ego state will not accept things as it is, will always look at it rationally, and will also do an analysis before accepting it. The child ego state is our felt concept of life. So in this ego state, we will experience happiness, sadness, and accordingly react and show it in our behavior. So these are the three ego states which he further divided. Parent is divided into a critical parent and nurturing parent. Adult stays as it is. The child ego state is divided into three groups: natural child, adapted child, and little professor. And we need to understand that these ego states are not age dependent. Just because somebody is 6 years old does not mean that this person, this small child, will interact only from the child ego state. Or just because somebody is 70 years old doesn't mean that this person will interact from the adult or parent ego state. We have seen examples. We have seen small children who behave like adults, and you can see from these pictures out here, this little girl is taking care of the sibling and is almost being a second mother to the kid. Then there's this young boy who is also in the habit of reading newspapers and is behaving like an adult. Or maybe there are kids who are working in the kitchen and feeling very adult-like about it. Reverse, you can see that these two girls are sulking like young kids. And then there are these other two people who are enjoying life as small children do. So therefore, these ego states are not age dependent. Let us try and understand the characteristics and consequences associated with these 6 ego states. The first is critical parent. A person who operates from this ego state comes across as a very critical kind of person who is always into fault finding, and this person finds it actually difficult to appreciate other people, so comes across as non-appreciative. The consequences are that nobody likes this kind of a person, and therefore this person will have very few friends. Juniors working with such a boss tend to feel depressed, but any junior who can stick around with such a boss will learn a lot and will grow to be a stronger person. Then next is the nurturing parent ego state. Such a person comes across as very protective, will accept that it is natural to make mistakes, and is very comforting and is also very appreciative. So obviously such a person is likely to have many friends, and as a result, when you are dealing with so many friends all the time and providing comfort, you have little time for self. Juniors feel very happy with such a boss. But the problem is that such juniors will learn less because the boss is okay with the mistakes that they make and does not have the heart to correct these mistakes. And such juniors will grow to be a dependent person. Then let's move to the adult ego state. The adult is a rational, logical, analytical person. You do not see any kind of emotions. There is no display of feelings. And an adult ego state can appreciate sense made by facts and figures and not feelings. So therefore, because of this kind of behavior, this person comes across as a very boring person and has limited friends and is avoided by many, and other people feel no sense of comfort in talking to such a person. Those operating from the natural child ego state, they are the ones who are full of fun. Life is meant to be enjoyed. They have little regard for rules and regulations. They are very emotional kind. If they are happy, the whole world knows they are happy. If they are sad, the whole world knows that they are sad. And they have unlimited friends. Can you see unlimited in capital letters? Yes, they have so many friends. It is because other people enjoy their company. They are very fun-loving people. It is good, you feel good after having an interaction with such a person. But the problem is that such people are likely to be taken less seriously, and others will think twice before entrusting responsibility. The adapted child ego state. Such a person is compliant, has high regard for rules and regulations, is dependable, will do as told. So therefore other people enjoy his company because of this dependability, and there is a sense of comfort in trusting him. The last ego state is that of a little professor. Such a person is innovative, thinks differently, maybe a little manipulative also, will question existing rules and procedures, and is creative. However, other persons are not very sure of their reactions because they don't tend to be consistent. Therefore, there is also discomfort in trusting. But such a person is a good sounding board for trying out new ideas because they think differently, they are creative, and they can question you as to why you are doing this, what can go wrong. So therefore they are a good sounding board. But please remember, we are not defined by one ego state exclusively. Of these 6 ego states that are within us, the top 3 dominant ego states define our personality. And it is also possible for the ego states to change over time. Now these ego states define our behavior and the way we communicate. I will share a few examples here. If you are operating from the parent ego state, this is the kind of language that you will use. You should reach office in time. You must complete your work today. You ought to make a visit to the doctor. Can you see that these are all dictatorial kind of statements? They are kind of authoritarian. The parent is deciding what is right for you. And the last sentence, you can't do it, I will do it for you. So that is the nurturing parent which is speaking. The same set of sentences become a little different when you are operating from the adult ego state. Can you see the changes here? It is desirable that you reach the office in time. I would appreciate if you complete your work today. Maybe you need to visit a doctor. If you need help, I'll help you out. In the previous case, the parent jumped into helping out. But here, the adult says, if you need help, you ask for it, then I will help you out. So there's a difference in the communication. And let's have a look at the child ego state. I want you to reach office in time and I don't care how you do it. So if the child wants it, he wants it. Please complete the report today. So this is a child who is speaking from the adapted child ego state, is being very polite. I will do the job if you say so. Or in other words, I don't want to do the job, but because you are saying it, I am going to oblige you. If they do not accept my suggestions this time, I'll stop attending meetings. So this is almost like sulking. Now that we have understood the different ego states, let us understand the kind of transactions that can happen. A transaction is a conversation between two persons. So you can see the first person who is asking a question, where is the weekly report? So this is a question and is being asked from the adult ego state. The answer is coming from the second person. It is on your table. This is a factual answer. So, and it is also coming from the adult ego state. So when there is a transaction between the same ego states, this is a parallel transaction. And it is referred to as a complementary transaction. So this kind of conversation or communication will continue. Let's take another example. The first person says, I feel I have prepared a good report. I'm so happy about it. You can see so happy about it. He's talking from the child ego state and he wants a shabashi to come from the parent ego state of the other person. And yes, the other person has said it like that. Yes, it is impressive. Well done. So again, you can see that the first one talked from the child ego state, targeting the parent ego state. The second one responded accordingly, and his response came from the parent ego state to the child ego state. So this is also a parallel transaction and it is a complementary transaction. Then the third example. I expected you to complete the work today, but you did not do so. So this is coming from the parent ego state. He is unhappy that the work was not being done and he's scolding the second person. The second person's response is, I am sorry, I will definitely complete it tomorrow. So when the first person was speaking, he spoke from his parent ego state, targeting the child ego state of the second person. And the second person responded exactly from his child ego state, apologizing for the work not done. Again, you can see that this is a parallel transaction, so therefore it is a complementary transaction. And in our communication, we would like to have complementary transactions as far as possible. Then there is something called a cross transaction. You can understand for yourself now. The first person said, "Where is the weekly report?" Look at the response of the second person. "Why can you not search for it yourself?" So this is a cross transaction. And in such transactions, the communication comes to a halt. Another example. "What kind of secretary are you? I can never seem to find the required file." Look at the response. "You should be more organized." So this is a cross transaction. We have a third category of transaction which is known as ulterior transaction. On the face value, it will look like a parallel one, but it is actually not. So this first person asked the shopkeeper, "Can you show me the latest mobile handset?" The shopkeeper says, "We don't have it. It's out of stock." So apparently it's looking like a parallel transaction. But what the shopkeeper is thinking in his mind is that, "I don't think you can afford one, so therefore I will say it is out of stock." Therefore, this is a case of ulterior transaction. Let us now move to Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, the MBTI. This is a self-introspective self-report questionnaire with the purpose of indicating differing psychological preferences in how people perceive the world around them and make decisions. So this questionnaire brings out 4 important aspects of our personality. The first aspect is favorite world. Do you prefer to focus on the outer world or on your own inner world? So if it is outer world, it is called extraversion. If it is the inner world, it is called introversion. Please don't mix this up with extrovert and introvert. For person who is in the extraversion mode, they like getting energy from active involvement in events and having a lot of different activities. They are excited when they are around people, and they also like to energize other people. They like moving into action and making things happen. While introversion is a little opposite. They like getting energy from dealing with ideas, pictures, memories, and reactions that are inside their head. They prefer doing things alone or with 1 or 2 people with whom they feel comfortable. They also take time to reflect so that they have a clear idea of what they'll be doing when they decide to act. This was the first aspect. The second one is information. Do you prefer to focus on the basic information you take in, or do you prefer to interpret and add meaning? So first one is sensing, the second one is intuition. What happens if you operate from sensing? Paying attention to physical reality, what I see, hear, touch, taste, and smell. I'm concerned with what is actual, present, current, and real. I notice facts and I remember details that are important to me. I like to see the practical use of things and learn best when I see how to use what I am learning. and experience speaks to me louder than words. So at the other end of the scale is intuition, paying the most attention to impressions or the meaning and patterns of information I get. I would rather learn by thinking a problem through than by hands-on experience. I am interested in new things and what might be possible so that I think more about the future than the past. I like to work with symbols or abstract theories, even if I don't know how I will use them. I remember events more as an impression of what it was like than as actual facts or details of what happened. So this was the second aspect. The third aspect is regarding decisions. When making decisions, do you prefer to first look at logic and consistency, or first look at the people and special circumstances? So it is either thinking or feeling. If you are the thinking kind, when I make a decision, I like to find the basic truth or principles to be applied regardless of the specific situation involved. I like to analyze pros and cons and then be consistent and logical in deciding. I try to be impersonal. For those who are of the feeling kind, I believe I can make the best decisions by weighing what people care about and the points of view of persons involved in a situation. I am concerned with values and what is the best for the people involved. I like to do whatever will establish or maintain harmony. Finally, the fourth one, in dealing with the outside world, do you prefer to get things decided, or do you prefer to stay open to new information and options? This is called judging or perceiving. For people who belong to the category of judging, to others, I seem to prefer a planned or orderly way of life, like to have things settled and organized, feel more comfortable when decisions are made, and like to bring life under control as much as possible. And for those who are in the perceiving category, to others, I seem to prefer a flexible and spontaneous way of life, and I like to understand and adapt to the world rather than organize it. Others seeing me as staying open to new experiences and information. So we can be a combination of any of these four, either an extraversion or introversion, sensing or intuition, thinking or feeling, judging or perceiving. So with these combinations, we can have 16 different sets of personalities. And this combination affects how we perceive the world and make decisions. And also please remember that these psychological preferences can change over time. Life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. Again, how we react to it is an outcome of our dominant ego states and the MBTI. I hope this video gave you a fair idea about your personalities, and I hope you understand why you behave the way you do, and also if any change is required so that you have the right attitude. Thank you very much for tuning in.